What is the platform? Who created this prison? These are questions we have all asked ourselves. There is no official answer from the creator of the saga yet, but there are clues scattered throughout the films. Today on Charlietales, we will analyze the case. I will share theories and possibilities about what the platform is and who could have created it. Ready? Let's go! Let's start with the first theory. The platform is purgatory. One of the most popular theories is that the platform isn't part of our reality, but a spiritual place, something like a space between heaven and hell. This horrible prison could be a type of purgatory, where souls come to cleanse themselves of their crimes or to overcome their traumas. This way, they could either ascend to heaven or descend into hell. The theory makes sense if we analyze the backstories of several characters. For example, Perempuan. She is a woman tormented by the death of her boyfriend's child, a tragedy she feels responsible for. She says she entered the platform to escape from that reality. But what if Perempuan actually committed suicide and ended up in the platform because of it? In the same film, we see how, within the platform, she faces her trauma and saves a child to redeem herself. It's as if the platform put her to the test, so she could save the child she couldn't save in her previous life. From this perspective, we can understand that she passed her test and will now go to heaven. This is why she meets Goring, her former boyfriend, who embraces her, suggesting that he forgave her for his child's death. The theory is also fueled by the recurring appearance of ghosts in the films. In both the first and second stories, we see the return of deceased characters. In Goring's story, we see Trimagasi welcoming him at the very end, even though Trimagasi had died a month earlier. He must be a spirit. In Perempuan's case, it's similar. At the end of her story, she sees her companion Zamiatin, who also died in the same film. The spiritual world is a recurring theme in the franchise, and is not unfamiliar to the platform's reality. This theory also fits other characters, such as Zamiatin. In the film, we learn that he was a liar who set fires to draw attention. His family disowned him because they saw him as a burden. However, in the platform, he sacrifices himself when he learns that Dagan Babi is after him. Zamiatin knows that Perempuan will also be punished because of him, so he chooses to sacrifice himself, redeeming himself for his past life. He finally ceases to be a burden to his loved ones. As you can see, the purgatory theory is quite solid. Moreover, the entire saga is filled with religious messages and references. In the first film, Goring is a clear representation of Jesus Christ, and he sends the girl as a message that could represent the gospel of Jesus. It's evident that the saga has a strong religious connection. Personally, this is my favorite theory, but the video is just beginning. Let's move on to the second theory. The platform is a betting game. This theory suggests that the platform is a type of competition with rules and an audience. But who created the game? It was likely a group of millionaires around the world. They probably used the platform to bet on which prisoner will survive. This idea is somewhat similar to Squid Game, where millionaires gamble on people's lives. In the platform, the theory goes that these millionaires can help their chosen players with money to get them to a higher level. For example, if someone is interested in you, they can donate money to have you moved up to a better level, increasing your chances of survival. But if you're not interesting, they'll just leave you below to die. This idea makes sense if we recall Goring's story. In the middle of the film, he reaches level 171, where he's forced to kill Trimagasi. Then miraculously, he wakes up on level 6, one of the best. Perhaps a sponsor found Goring interesting and decided to help him. This concept resembles the Hunger Games saga, where sponsors can also aid their chosen ones. The betting theory fits well with the social critique presented in the platform films. This saga has always been about human selfishness, our limits and our weaknesses, greed and human evil. In this context, it wouldn't be surprising for a hellish place like this to be nothing more than entertainment for the wealthy elite. This theory doesn't involve a spiritual world, aliens, or anything complicated, but it's terrifying on its own. It suggests that the worst monster is the human being, capable of sacrificing their fellow humans for mere amusement. Now let's move on to another theory. The platform is a spaceship. I read this theory in a comment, and I found it very interesting. It suggests that the platform is actually a high-tech space base, perhaps even controlled by aliens. The theory is based on a few clues. For example, we know that the platform's administration has futuristic technology, enough to control gravity. We can see this with the platform that descends every day. It has no ropes or anything. It descends almost magically through gravity control. In the second film, there's a scene where Perempuan hides among the corpses to escape. Here we see the platform enter a sort of zero-gravity state, giving the impression that we're in outer space. It would make sense to think that this ship has artificial gravity, capable of mimicking Earth's gravity. This is why things normally stick to the ground. but when needed, the ship turns off gravity to move the platform or dispose of the corpses. In the same scene with Perempuan, we see how the bodies are stacked and thrown into a dark hole. It's possible this hole leads to outer space, and perhaps the administration throws the corpses out into the void. Of course, for this theory to work, the platform's story must take place in the future, an era where technology allows for the construction of a giant prison in space, and there are resources to bring food to it. Or we could go further, and imagine that this space base was built by aliens who experiment on us to understand human society. This makes sense, since the platform represents human values quite well. Surely a different species would be interested in understanding this. Perhaps a superior race only uses the platform to study humans, their weaknesses and strengths. This theory is fascinating and would be incredible if true. Now let's move on to the last theory. The platform is a social experiment. Perhaps the simplest hypothesis is this. The platform is merely a government or private company experiment to test ideas about human society. Where does selfishness come from? How does anarchy work? Where do the norms of society come from? These are questions that could easily be answered in the platform. Essentially, it would be like a rat experiment, but with humans. This theory is somewhat boring. It doesn't take place in the future or anything like that, but it makes sense if we consider several clues. When Trimagasi tells us his past in the first film, he says he lived like a normal person. He watched TV, and even bought his knife thanks to an ad he saw on TV. Moreover, Trimagasi says he ended up in prison because he threw his TV out the window, accidentally killing an illegal immigrant. Trimagasi's comments make us think he lived in a relatively normal society, with TV, citizens, and immigrants, similar to today's Spain. With this information, we can rule out wild theories, like Earth being destroyed, or no humans being left outside. When Goring entered the platform, he said he did so to earn an accredited degree. This implies that there are still universities, studies, and standard careers in the outside world. Therefore, human society still exists outside the platform, at least based on his comments. This theory suggests that the platform is just a social experiment, perhaps a government program, or a secret organization. It's not as exciting, but it's one of the most realistic in a practical sense. What do you think? Which theory convinced you the most? If you have other ideas, please leave them in the comments so I can make another video like this one. But anyway, that's all for today. If you liked the video, you would help me a lot by leaving a like. That would be legendary. Also remember to subscribe because I'll be uploading more videos about your favorite movies. Thanks for listening. My name is Charlie, and I'll see you in the future.